Hola and welcome to the wonderful world of prosperity and happiness. What you are going to see in this video can literally change your life. It sounds like hyperbole, I know, but my purpose in life is helping people like you pursue your highest potential. At the end of this webinar, you'll be able to slingshot around profit-draining black holes with grace and confidence. You will have 2 sources of infinite leads, even if you don't think getting leads applies to you. And you will know how to focus on the 2 factors that lead to exponential growth and exploding your revenue. This is all about benefiting you in the highest way possible. And to do that, it helps to get to know each other a little bit. For those of you who don't already know me, me llamo Amy Mariscal. I'm the founder of Lift Your Business. We help small business owners, social entrepreneurs, and entertainment entrepreneurs create scalable prosperity systems. I invented the game Profitlandia to help business owners all over the world strategize and develop their system with their team in a way that is fun and rewarding. Serving business owners serves my life's purpose because these beautiful leaders affect large amounts of people's lives in any given community. The crazy thing to me is that humans have been entrepreneurs almost since we first existed, yet still today, about 61% of businesses are not profitable. The ones who are successful, on average, make about the same as electricians, which is certainly a respectable living, but business owners have 10 times more responsibility for the well-being of other people, which takes quite a toll mentally and even physically. My mission is to help you create a scalable profit system that will work for you for years to come. So get your pencil or your typing fingers ready and your brain ready, baby, because this is going to lift you up to the moon. First, let me tell you a story about my greatest hero in terms of growing prosperity for small business owners like you and me. This is a story about a classic strategy and grit. Side note, did you know that grit is the #1 predictor of success? If anyone is a model to admire for strategy, it's the late, great Chet Holmes. In his early days helping enterprise businesses, Chet worked for Charlie Munger, who you may know of as Warren Buffett's partner at Berkshire Hathaway. They had a variety of trade magazines, and Charlie contracted Chet to head up sales for one of the magazines. They had a database of 2,200 potential advertisers that they would send promotional pieces to every single month. With that approach, they saw very little growth. My man Chet did some research and found that 167 prospects out of the 2,200 bought 95% of the competitors' advertising. One reason I love this story is that it illustrates the Pareto principle, which you've probably referred to as the 80-20 rule. The basic premise is that 20% of the work you do produces 80% of the results. As we see in this story, 7.5% of the market produced 95% of the results. So the ratio may vary, but the principle is the same. Focus on the people that will give you the most effective results. Since Charlie Munger's magazine didn't have any of these top 20% prospects, Chet began to focus all his sales efforts on those 167 magazine advertisers. He built a campaign around a core message and expanded the message and added value to those prospects on his top 20% list, building a relationship with them through a series of about 8 marketing and sales touches each month. Since these were the biggest buyers in the market, the first 4 months of intensive marketing and selling brought no actual results at all. However, in this 5th month, one of the dream clients did buy advertising in the magazine. Finally, in the 6th month, 28 of the 167 largest advertisers in the country came into the magazine all at once. And since these are the biggest advertisers, they don't take quarter page and fractional ads. They take full pages and full color spreads. These 28 advertisers alone were enough to double the sales over the previous year. The magazine went from number 15 in the industry to number 1 in just over a year. This top 20% prospect approach is a classic. I can assure you that anyone who has ideal clients is using it in one way or another. But most business owners don't put a system behind it. And if it doesn't have a system, it is not scalable. And we are going for scalable, people. So your goal is to put this into a scalable system that we will call an outbound marketing system. I can't go into details because I've got so much to share in this video, but if you want to hear more on this, email me at liftyourbusiness.com/contact and write top 20% approach, tell me more in the subject line. Now we're going to get into the really juicy stuff. We are going to talk about how to not get sucked into the oblivion, learn 3 revenue-draining black holes for small businesses. We're going to show you that linear growth is for regular folks and you are no longer regular. So we are going to focus on the 2 factors that lead to exponential growth. And by the end of the program, you will have 2 sources of infinite leads. Let's get started with don't get sucked into oblivion. Learn to avoid revenue-draining black holes for small businesses. Whenever business owners are surveyed about their biggest concerns, leads come up on the list. In order to get leads, you need a really strong core message, something that people can grasp onto and remember when the time comes to buy. What are you going to do for them, and how does that tie into their ideals? A great example of this is Hillary versus Trump. Do you remember what Trump's campaign said he was going to do for his audience of American donors and voters? Make America great again, right? We still can't get it out of our heads. What was Hillary going to do for her audience of American donors and voters? It's hard to remember, right? She didn't have a strong core message, and that was one of the things that led to the downfall of her campaign. Like some politicians, the small businesses that are flailing generally produce collateral that doesn't speak to the core message. What's worse is that most business owners and teams can't even tell you what their core message is. It doesn't matter how you ask it. What's your slogan? What's the thing you repeat every time you're with a client? What's your mission? Team members can't answer it because they don't know. And the core message is the foundation for everything else in your system. From getting leads, to converting them into sales, to getting those same people to buy again and give you referrals. It also deeply affects your team growth. If no one can say what you're working towards in a simple sentence, it's going to be much harder to get them to help you achieve it. So the first revenue-draining black hole is not having a core message. Black hole number 2 is trying to focus on everyone. Imagine you're trying to find intelligent life on another planet. What do you do? What do you do? It's impossible to go to all the planets without an infinite amount of time, money, people, and resources. You could try to send a message to all the planets, but since you don't know the language of life, it probably wouldn't work anyway. The best method is to identify which types of planets are most likely to have life on them and then visit those. Once you learn their languages and media, you can make some important connections and you can speak to pretty much the entire planet. Your goal is to find the world of people that want your products and services the most, learn their language, media preferences, and buddy up with thought leaders in that world, and then it will be easier, less expensive, and more rewarding to connect with your final audience. This brings us back to that trusty Pareto principle we talked about. You want to focus on the 20% of prospects who are going to produce 80% of the results. If you need more help with this, I will give you more options to contact me or get help at the end of this webinar. All right, now it's time for black hole number 3. Dun, dun, dun. And that is letting past relationships die. Instead of focusing on getting repeat sales, flailing businesses will stop communicating with past clients. It's a very well-known fact that it's cheaper to sell to the same person over and over and over again rather than constantly getting new people. Black hole number 4 is working tactically instead of strategically. You've probably heard the phrase, you are working in your business instead of on your business. And if you're like most people, you want to work on your business more than you are now. Working strategically means taking time to assess your biggest risks, ask the right questions, and make a plan to find the answers with the least possible losses. Another thing about working tactically is that it makes it nearly impossible to systematize, automate, and scale with ease. Because to do these things, you've got to measure outcomes and iterate. Instead, what flailing businesses do when their plans don't work as expected is they move on to something else, or worse, quit trying. Many people go out of business because they run out of money before they find the answers they need. You, my friend, are not going to do that because I'm going to help you slingshot around that black hole with confidence. But first, the final black hole. Number 5. Team growth happens too slow. In other words, your team is not growing quantitatively or qualitatively in a way that keeps up with your growth rate. In order to scale up, it follows that you and your team are going to have to do more work. And I know you probably don't have more time yourself. So the emphasis is on growing the work your team can do. This happens both by training your team to do more and higher level work more efficiently and hiring more people. What eludes many people until it's too late is that hiring more of the right people for your culture and your business is expensive, time-consuming, and difficult. The same goes with training. So you've got to make plans for this aspect of your business as well. All these ideas are interconnected, and if a business is flailing, you can assume they have one or all of these problems. They don't have a core message. They are focusing on they're focusing on the people that they meet in these events or in their work they're doing or through referrals. And they're not really going out to get repeat sales. They haven't really figured out a system for that. They're just kind of doing the same thing they've always done. They don't have a budget or a plan or a strategy to get more leads and get more sales systematically. And they don't have any training programs in place or any kind of a marketing system to get more people so that when you are ready to scale up people, you have a very good system in place for growing your team quantitatively. We can't address all these problems, but we can focus on the one that is the umbrella for the others. The umbrella area to focus on is developing your strategic skills, which basically means assessing risk, asking the right questions, and designing experiments to eliminate the risk. You're planning to eliminate risky assumptions as quickly as possible because those are the monsters that can take you down. In order to focus your strategic planning the most effectively, it helps to understand which factors will contribute to linear growth and which factors will result in exponential growth. The most prosperous and happy business owners have learned through the School of Hard Knocks that it pays exponentially to focus on 2 areas. Number 1, culture and team growth, and number 2, marketing and conversion systems. But those 2 areas are super complicated to focus on. So most people end up doing the things that they have to get done, like operations and business development, or what I like to call hustling for sales. This basically includes doing the work, getting business from your network, and getting referrals. This is the way most people start and create successful businesses, and it works great for a while, until something unexpected comes along, because there's no margin, there's no room for error. So it's kind of like living paycheck to paycheck with your business because you're hoping things will go the way that they've always gone. But if not, you can get into trouble because you don't have a scalable and resilient system. You just have the way that you've always done things. And going to events and getting referrals is not really scalable. Of course, you will probably always be doing business development and operations to some extent. That's the hard part. You need to do all of these things, or at least be able to oversee all of them. The key word is balance. You have got to make sure you are balancing the high-level exponential growth activities you are doing with the linear growth activities. It's too easy to focus on the bottom linear growth activities and not do the other stuff. But if you don't spend time working on your business instead of in it, then you're never going to experience exponential growth. Unless you get super lucky, which does happen, but is that really what you want to depend on? No, of course not. You didn't get this far because you depend on luck. You got this far because you knew what you wanted and you took the steps to make it happen. The actionable takeaway for this part is that you want to plan for exponential growth by spending at least 1 hour a week planning, improving, and systematizing these 2 areas, marketing and conversion systems, and culture and team development. Next up, we're going to talk about 2 sources of infinite leads, since this is always one of the things that comes up from business owners. In the beginning, I told you the story of Chet Holmes' top 20% approach. That is an example of an outbound campaign. You're going out and finding people and reaching out and building a relationship that way. The other type of campaign is inbound. You're getting people to come into you, into your business sphere of influence. For example, when you place an ad on the radio and people call in, they are coming into you. The outbound system I told you about is one approach that can work for almost any company. Whether your prospects are investors, direct clients, or partners, there is some experience that you can design in the form of a system, and that builds relationships in a way that is inspiring, educational, and/or entertaining. In other words, valuable. The approach that I'm going to cover in detail here is an inbound approach using Facebook. Now, you don't need to use Facebook in order for the approach to work. You can use Google ads or any type of online ads that your heart desires. I use Facebook here because it's really easy for most people to get up and running on since they're already using it. And it's a really easy platform to start a campaign on. In other words, you don't need to hire someone in order to start experimenting. This is the Grow Your Money Tree Digitally system. We have all of the different elements required to create a simple Facebook or Google campaign, and the pieces of content that you'll need to go along with the campaign as well. And then this beautiful map shows how it all relates to each other in a visual system. So it's easily explainable to your team and anybody else that you need to explain it to. Okay, so let's start up here at the, where do we want to start? Let's start right at the top. Let's start with company. So first things first, you want to know what company you're talking about making some ads for, and you want to know what prospect segment you are making some ads for. Ideally, you have a client avatar, a person that you have described that fits into the segment, one of your top 20% segments that you want to address your ads, your social media posts, whatever the campaign is, you want to address it to this one person. It helps to think of one person because then you can get inside their head, and it helps you create very hypnotic writing and copy because you are thinking from their perspective. Okay, so once you have that in mind, your client avatar, then you're going to want to think about, okay, what are the core offerings that we ultimately want to get to in this system? And then you can work backwards from there. You probably know the core offerings that's in your company. It's a very easy one, right? So then, backwards from there, how are you going to get people to those core offerings? What is your easy yes offer? The hardest thing to do is to get people to pull out their credit card or pull out their wallet and spend money with you. You have to have trust. They have to believe in what you're going to do. There's a lot of things that go into building that relationship strong enough for them to say yes, pull out their wallet and give you some money. So what can you offer that makes that first step of pulling out their wallet and giving you money really easy? Another way to think about this is a loss leader. Okay, a lot of companies use the strategy to sell their first product, kind of their product that everybody uses, very cheaply, right? So even at a loss, that's why it's called a loss leader. But then they know once you buy that cheap product, then you're going to come in and buy the expensive products, and the margins will all work out. Once you have an easy yes offer in mind, then you're going to make a couple ads for the easy yes offer. And if you want to start with, it's actually a good idea to start with a free, just build this as a free campaign first, just a regular social media campaign that would go through, one time on your social media. And then you'll have all the elements that you need to actually then put in the ads after that. Okay, so these could be 2 social media posts for your easy yes offer. And the reason, from here on out, we're going to test at least 2 different things in each section. Okay, so we're A/B testing the entire system. What is A/B testing? A/B testing is comparing 2 things, A and B, to see which one performs better. Okay, you can do ABC tests, you can do 5 things in a test, but it's very simple and easy to just do 2. And that makes it easy to test one simple thing, just change out like the image in a social media post or the headline or something very simple like that, and then you can test which piece does better. Lead magnets, once you have your ads for EasyYes offer, then you want to think about, okay, let's even take it back further. So how did these people get to that EasyYes offer? Did you get their email addresses? Do you need their phone numbers to be able to call them? Whatever information you need to gather from them, whether it's just their email or their email and phone number or whatever it is, you want to give them something in exchange for that information. This could be in the form of a discount. Okay, so give away a discount coupon, 20% off your first order of, this works great for clothing. Everybody wants a discount on their clothing or makeup or things like that. In the service industry, you want to use more content-based stuff. So if you're doing selling services, you're going to want to have some kind of a very useful, like a piece of content, like an ebook you can think of that you could give away in order to entice people to give you their email address and their phone number or whatever contact you need for them. Next up, we got to make the landing pages for the lead magnets. Okay, so the lead magnets, how are you going to tell people about these lead magnets? We're talking about a digital system here, so you're going to need a couple landing pages. Basically the only point of these landing pages is to sell the lead magnets, right? Even though we're going to give them away for free in exchange for their contact information, we still need to sell it to them, and you got to give them the good copy, make them want it. All right, so that's the capture. Then you want to make a couple ads for each lead magnet. Okay, so at this point you're going to start you got 2 lead magnets, you're going to need 2 ads for each lead magnet, you're going to need 4 ads total. Again, these can be social media posts. And then down here, you want to make a couple blog posts with call to actions for the lead magnets. All right, so what is the thing what are some FAQs that you can answer with some blog posts? What are buying questions that people ask that you can answer in some blog posts? What are some of the blog posts that you have used for SEO, okay, that your SEO company told you to write? These are very good blog posts to use here, and then you can just have a call to action at the end, and that call to action also leads people to your lead magnet, okay, in addition to these ads, okay? So you're making a couple different funnels in this one system here, right? Because you're making a way for them to go just visit your blog post through SEO search and then get a call to action and get the lead magnet. So give them your email address that way, contact info that way, and then from the lead magnet we're going to have a call to action for the EasyYes offer or one of your core offerings. So we've got a couple different ways that we are actually getting people to go through the experience pathway that we'd like them to go to. And then finally we have 2 ads for each blog post. So basically we've got a couple ads, a piece of content, couple ads, a piece of content with a landing page, you know, on the blog post, the website's built in. And then the EasyYes offer, you may or may not need a landing page for this. If we're talking about a digital system, you're probably going to need a landing page, but you may end up, you know, you might be a company that needs to, your EasyYes offer at this point might be something that you need to talk on the phone about. So this system is going to look a little bit different for everybody, but this is the basic elements that pretty much everybody's going to need. And then on the right here, we show how it moves the prospects from cool prospects, right? These cool prospects just come into your blog either from an ad or from the SEO or something like that. And then we're going to move them through your information, giving them information that's educational, inspirational, and helps them to come to trust you. We're going to get them to move to warm and then to hot up here. And if you have any questions, you can email me, Amy, at my email info at liftyourbusiness.com. Now let's take a look at an instance of how committing to one of these strategies could grow your sales. Imagine the top 20% of your clients. What is the lifetime value of an ideal client? Or, if you want to go really big, an ideal partner. Let's take the example of a coconut oil manufacturing company that sells commercially and directly to customers via Amazon. Their best clients are commercial companies that buy an average of $1,000 a month every single month. The average client stays with the coconut oil company for 15 years. The lifetime value is $12,000 a year times 15 years. So the total is about $180,000. It's worth $180,000 to this coconut oil company to get one top 20% client. What's the lifetime value of your ideal client? Go ahead and pause the video and figure it out. It's totally worth it. Now imagine you had 100 of these top 20% clients. What's that worth? Are you ready to make this happen in your business? Of course you are, right? Who wouldn't be? Until it comes time to do the work. Unfortunately, a strategic approach to marketing and sales conversions is going to run you at least $5,000 a month. But let's be real. If the average small business owner in California is making about $85,000 a year, they don't have $5,000 a month to spend on something they weren't planning on. And sadly, most non-enterprise level business owners don't plan on marketing. I know, it's crazy, but I've come to accept it. What they end up doing instead is they hire a slew of tacticians. First they'll hire maybe a web designer and a copywriter. Then maybe they'll go to a social media company and an SEO company. They'll redo their website again, but none of it works because they don't have a strategic approach. Unfortunately, there are at least 382 tactics that you can apply to your business, and all of those have people willing to take your money and let you try those tactics on your dime. Yes, there are better tactics for you than others, but all tactics work about the same when you've got strategies and beliefs driving them. They all work very well. On the other hand, when you don't, they don't work very well at all. Marketing guru Neil Patel puts it like this in an article heading on quicksprout.com: Why you shouldn't hire a marketing consultant. A lot of small and medium businesses hire consultants because they are looking for miracles. No consultant is going to take a business that is doing very little in revenue and quickly turn it around. Consultants are consultants for a reason. They specialize in one thing. For example, driving traffic to websites. But if you have a bad product, a low converting site, or an offer that just doesn't make sense, driving thousands of visitors to your website won't fix your business. And what Mr. Patel is talking about here is not hiring tacticians. What most business owners want is to create prosperity and happiness with sustainable and scalable systems. But the deeper I get into this, the crazier reality seems to get. Because I've learned that 3, 5, 10 years down the road, most business owners are still working on developing a scalable business model. There are people who offer this kind of help to business owners, help that focuses on these exponential growth areas, culture and team development, and marketing and conversion systems. The one that I know of and would go to if I was rich would be marketing and sales expert Jay Abraham. I say if I was rich because his prices are upwards from $10,000 a month with at least a 6-month commitment. And that's just for him to tell you what to do. No implementing included. It's a similar story when you go to these events and you see these marketing gurus on stage all over the country. They're charging about $25,000 minimum and they don't do any implementing for you. Considering most small businesses make less than $1 million in annual revenue and the average business owner in LA makes $80,000 a year, I know you probably don't have $10,000 a month to pay for somebody to tell you what to do. So what do you do until then if you don't want to waste thousands of dollars experimenting on your own, only to end up with another tactical approach that could leave you hanging if the market turns or Facebook explodes or whatever it is? I'm convinced one of the reasons that business owners are not making more than electricians is that we as a community have not figured out how to help them in this way. Thinking in this way does not come naturally for most people, and Lord knows we ain't teaching it in schools yet. I'm on a mission to change all of that, which is why I have an incredible opportunity for you coming up in just a bit. But first, I want to make sure you know how to spot a good investment when you see one. It starts with a strategy tailored to your individual needs that takes into account your team, your budget, your strengths, resources, etc. One way to manage this effectively is to use a business model canvas or core business system canvas to make sure you are getting a good high-level perspective of all the pieces in your system. It's like a map of the biggest components of your system all on one sheet of paper, so it's easy to share with your team, potential investors, or other stakeholders. It's the complete picture of your business, and anyone helping you develop a scalable profit system is going to need this perspective incorporated into their work for you. Your system plans should take a person from not knowing you, your company, or your products to being a loyal client and sending you referrals. And the help should include working together to implement the system in your business. You see, when developing your prosperity system, getting from point A to point B is more like flying or sailing than walking up a staircase. You're constantly moving off course because of the wind and the obstacles that are in your way. So you're constantly correcting, looking around you and making sure you know what your situation is, that there's not a storm coming that you don't know about. And because of these circumstances, you want to be able to speak with someone one-on-one consistently so that you can course correct as you experiment and iterate the best, most scalable, resilient, happy system for your company. A takeaway principle for trying a tactic like public relations or SEO is that you want to try any marketing tactic for 6 months before you decide whether to keep it or move on. And here's a little added bonus of what I call the marketing muscles. Most companies that are making over $4 million in annual revenue use almost all of these marketing muscles in one way or another. They stack on tactics, like when you are working out more muscles at the gym. You're stacking on more strength to your overall body. And if you do it right, you're more resilient because when some parts of your body are weak due to injury or surgery, you can rely on the strong parts of your body. It's like diversifying your revenue sources. I can practically hear your thoughts through the internet right now. You're assessing whether or not you should do this yourself, hand it over to a team member, or outsource. So let's take a look at the skills needed as well as the benefits and challenges to doing it each way. When evaluating who to work with, you want to start with the list of the top skills and strengths needed to make it happen. All too many consultants are willing to take your money whether or not the tactic you are asking them to do will actually bring you more results. But what you really want is someone who will help you find the best system for scaling your profit. Look for someone who's as concerned with the results as you are, a results achiever. Because you want to tell a story that shares your core message in a variety of media and over time, you want someone that is creative enough to keep the message fresh. The same person also needs to be able to combine art and science and sales and marketing seamlessly. That's why I call them a creative problem solver. The person also needs to be able to measure and analyze data and use it to form new ways to evolve. They've got to be analytical. Producing sustainable and scalable systems requires both big picture thinking and next step thinking simultaneously. Finding a person who goes back and forth between big picture thinker and detailed project manager can be challenging, but worth it. Today we are in such a content-heavy world that you want someone who knows multimedia storytelling. The person doesn't have to be able to do everything themselves, but they should have the technical know-how to work with different types of tactics that you might use, which could include audio, writing, and/or video, depending on your company and your prospects. Obviously, you want to find someone who's interested in and cares about you, your company, and your prospects. The more they are able to step into your shoes or your prospects' shoes, the easier it is to influence positive change. Most companies are using or want to use social media because it's got so many benefits in terms of communicating with stakeholders. Look for somebody who knows how to use it correctly. In order to create scalable and resilient systems, your entire team must be on board every step of the way, and that includes you. So the person needs to work well with others and have the communication skills needed to influence people to change even when it's hard, which is like always. If you're here thinking, yes, this is me, I've got all those skills and strengths, then there are certainly some benefits to doing this work yourself. For example, since you have been doing this for years, you have the deepest knowledge, so it's going to be hard to match your knowledge, passion, and authentic voice. Another benefit of doing it yourself is that you are mastering prosperity and happiness production by learning from your mistakes. And this skill set applies to any business you want to morph this into or start fresh in the future. Of course, there's pluses and minuses to almost every situation, so keeping it balanced, here are some of the challenges of doing it yourself. Since you're already juggling so many other hats already, being strategic and always thinking next steps, staying up to date on best practices and culture development and content production, it's simply too much for one person. Maybe you can handle it now, but the key to a scalable, sustainable business while having more time for family and pleasure is building a reliable team. At some point, you're going to need to get help, and if you haven't ever collaborated with someone on this prosperity and happiness production, it's easier to do it before you are in full throttle scaling. Finally, if you've gotten this far in the webinar, there are many parts of this that you have not been doing. If you haven't done it already, do you really think you're going to change and start doing it now? So at this point, you might be more excited about getting help. Let's look at the two options there: hiring new team members or outsourcing. Hiring new team members is like welcoming more people in your family, right? So once your new team member has situated into the culture and found the rhythm working at your company, they can probably sustain consistency for a long time with minimal hands-on work from you. Obviously, if you are not doing the work, you have a chance to create more time in your day for your actual family and pleasure. And as the sole boss of the team member, you have more control over the work they do. No one is trained to produce prosperity and happiness in school, which to me is one of the greatest downfalls of our time. But that's for another conversation. Even in MBA programs and in enterprise level companies, people are not trained on producing prosperity and happiness. They are trained on specific tactics like management, accounting, and marketing. There is only one person per company that is traditionally responsible for the whole system, and that is the CEO. So you have to be able to train the person that you're hiring to take this holistic approach like you are. Also, when you hire someone, there's an implied commitment on both of your parts. This implied commitment costs a lot of money and responsibility. It takes a lot of time and money to hire and retain someone who is talented in all the skills that you're hiring for and who also fits into your company and culture. You have to be able to manage the work that you are bringing the person in to do. You have to know what to hold them accountable for and how to hold them accountable for doing it in the best possible way. And finally, it takes time and training to get new hires up to speed on your purpose, what you do, and your company culture, all the internal stuff. Let's compare that to outsourcing. Here again, you are producing this space to create more time in your day for family and pleasure because you're not doing everything yourself. A principle of creativity, problem solving, and innovation is diversity and/or divergent thinking. At Pixar, they always have some people on the team with tons of experience and some people that are new to the mix because they bring in fresh perspectives. Outsourcing allows you to constantly be bringing in people with fresh perspectives. Also, every second that they're working for you counts. You don't pay for downtime as you do with hired team members. This is a good place to start because it's quicker and cheaper to learn and make mistakes. Of course, there are challenges with outsourcing as well. For example, as I mentioned with the quotes by Neil Patel, most consultants have very specific skill areas, so you'll probably end up outsourcing multiple consultants. Freelance consultants and creators often have other projects going on at the same time. And finding outsourced team members with the skills that you are looking for and who you trust can seem impossible. In summary, here's a quick way to determine whether hiring help will result in a positive ROI. It starts with putting a dollar amount on your time. What is your time worth? $50 an hour? $150 an hour? $300 an hour? After you do that, determine what you don't want to do. Then hire the people to do the work on the things on the list that cost you less than the dollar amount that your time is worth. Finally, if it's not your area of expertise and you could lose time and money by trying to do it on your own, go for the positive return on your investment and hire some help. What you've seen today are some principles for exploding your revenues and some excellent ways to generate infinite leads for your business in ways that are not too expensive or time-consuming. We also talked about the skills required to take action and the pluses and minuses of all the ways to do so, which is why I know you are going to be blown away by what I'm going to offer you right now. This is my loss leader offer because I want every business owner who desires to create more prosperity and happiness in their business to be able to afford it. Plus, I love meeting new business owners and spreading the wisdom. So it's basically like a public service for me. The goal of the Profit Now package for you is to get you in a position to scale up your profit exponentially and systematically. In other words, we turn your revenue production into a scalable, resilient system so you can produce profit exponentially. We do that by building a foundation for you to be incredibly fruitful while identifying the easiest places to create more revenue right away. We all want more of our favorite clients, investors, and/or partners. With the Profit Now package, we identify the segments of prospects that are most ideal for you and matrix our way into the best one to focus on next. Combining proven processes and principles with the wisdom and knowledge you've acquired over the years, we create a prospect journey map, and you walk away with a big picture of where you are going and the next steps on how to make that happen. I also provide options of ways that I can help you if you want to continue working together. If not, that's fine too. Because I know you have very little time, the package is unbelievably efficient and effective. In fact, we can be done in less than a week if you'd like. If you are ready to make your tactics work 10 times better by putting them together in a strategic way, the Profit Now package is probably for you. At an unbelievable $293, I can guarantee this will be the best money you spend on your business and yourself for years to come. Yep, you heard me right. It's only $293, but it gets better. Right now, I, Amy Mariscal, will be the one doing the Profit Now package with you. In addition to being the only prosperity and happiness producer you'll find, I'm probably the most creative, strategic, and efficient marketing expert that you'll find working for rates that are affordable for small business owners. That's because most marketing experts work for enterprise-level businesses. And it still gets better. Because I realize that most people need an incentive, especially sometimes when it's the best thing for our long-term selves. If you purchase in the next 4 hours, then you get $100 off. So the final price you pay today is $193. This is a one-time payment, friend. Remember the lifetime value of a client? How much was that for you? If I help you get just one client, you've made your money back hundreds of times over. You can even put it on PayPal and get 6 months interest-free payments. I'm also going to give you a 15-minute pre-call to make sure you're ready to maximize our 1-hour session. And finally, so there are no excuses left and you desire to sign up right now, I have a ridiculous guarantee for your wonderful self. You can get your money back for any reason at all before the end of the first strategy session we do together. So even if you're not sure about this right now, it makes sense to go for it. Because if you don't do it now, you probably won't do it. And then you'll be losing out on building the most resilient, scalable foundation for your marketing and sales conversion systems in your business, and for creating a positive culture that people are begging to be part of. Now, some of you are happy to move forward with the big picture, and some of you need the hardcore details of exactly what's included in the package. The next part is for my friends of that personality type. But first, a couple of testimonials. Check out what Kelsey Borland Lee of the Brand Gals and the new Creative Studios Los Angeles says about the Profit Now package. After spending about an hour and a half on my business system, Amy whipped a sales funnel into shape and I knew she was a genius at strategy. It was amazing watching her work. Since then, she has continued to advise me and help me further my business vision in exponential ways. Michael Cass of the Center for Story and Spirit says, Combined with Amy's exceptionally empathetic and enthusiastic coaching, it helped me cut through months of dithering to find out that my current business model wasn't viable and inspired me to create a new approach that's much more effective and exciting. I highly recommend working with Amy. Here's exactly what we do and what you get in the Profit Now package. Immediately after you sign up, you will get an email from me that includes the Core Business System Canvas tool and the Prospect Segment Matrix. These simple tools are pretty self-explanatory, and ideally you do them before our strategy session, but if not, that's totally fine too. They shouldn't take any longer than a half an hour each to complete, but I make all of my packages so that even if you don't prepare, well, you're going to still make it through. I also include blog posts and videos to go along with the tools. So if you are surprising yourself by getting really into this stuff, you have plenty of juice to work with. And since you're going to sign up now, you get a 15-minute pre-strategy session chat to make sure you are ready to maximize our 1-hour session. During that call, I'll review the next steps of the package with you and answer all of your questions. And then if we still have some time, we can get to know each other a bit as well. When we do the 1-hour strategy session, which can actually take up to 1.5 hours if you are really talkative or ask lots of questions. During this session, I help you assess the riskiest assumptions you might be missing, identify your biggest challenges, identify your current sales funnel, assess the best prospect segment to focus on, and hone in on some of the best tactics to commit to. Then I go to the drawing board behind the scenes. One of the principles for creativity is giving ideas time to marinate. So after our session, I let the information do just that. And I ideate. Then I spend at least 1 hour reviewing over 364 potential tactics, researching, strategizing, and mapping out your top prospect journey. And then we have a half-hour online meeting. At that meeting, I share the document containing your prospect journey map and next steps with you, along with an explanation and notes for moving forward. So there you have it. I spend an awesome amount of time on this for you because there are so many benefits to me for doing so. And obviously, I want to build a long-term relationship if I can be a benefit to you. Now, as Nike puts it, just do it. Sign up for the Profit Now package by clicking the link below. If you're thinking about it, don't procrastinate because you might forget to come back to your computer or get distracted or whatever it is. Just sign up for the Profit Now package by clicking the link below, and if you regret it for any reason, any time before the end of the first full strategy session, not the 15-minute session, but the full strategy session, then I'll give you your money back. No problem, no hassle. I love business owners because you can make such big pieces of the world better with your actions. You have a high potential for impact. Let me help you make that impact by signing up below.